Hey y'all, so I am back with another Watch Me Work, and in this one it is going to be another fall set. So we're going to have some chocolate, some glitter, and even a plaid nail. So to start off, I'm doing my natural nail prep, and I am taking my cuticle pusher and just pushing back her eponychium. And once I have that done, I'm going to come in with my cuticle bit. Now this cuticle bit I just recently purchased. I don't know what happened to all of my cuticle bits, y'all, but they have just magically disappeared. So I went on Amazon. I was like, I'll just buy me, a little one off of Amazon. And this one, I really do love it. So I'm going to make sure that I leave the link in the bio for you guys if you want to try this one. So once I have one side done, I put my e-file in reverse and then I do the opposite side. That just helps me, it makes it easier for me to get around that skin without the e-file skipping. I feel like it's just much safer. So once I have that done, I'm going to come in with my sanding band and I'm just going to etch her nail plate. So that's just removing shine and buffing it just ever so lightly. So when I finish using the sanding band, I do a little bit of cuticle work. So I'll come in with my ball bit and just buff that skin off. I try to be super careful, y'all, when it comes to this. I hate busting out my nippers, so at all cost I will use the ball bit to try to get it off, and I never force it either. And if there is still some remaining after I have used the ball bit, then that's when I'll come in with my nippers and I will carefully try to get whatever is left. Now, even when it comes to the nippers, I do not go hard at all. I try to get whatever is hanging off of the skin. That's it. If I still feel like it's attached to that skin, I'm not going to take it off. I'm not going to risk the chance of cutting someone. So once all of that is done, I'm going to come in and start my application. I believe this nude is Young Nails Cover Pink. And for the pinky, this one is just going to be that whole solid color. So I'm going to start at the center of the nail and I'm going to walk that bead down. And as I'm doing that, I am really making sure that this bead is nice and flat, it's smooth, and that it is free from the sides. When you start with your first bead, and that is the tip bead, you want to make sure that you are really smoothing it out and you're applying it as good as you can. You should be applying your acrylic like how you visually see it at the end of the set. And I know it is very hard to get there if you're a beginner, because it took me a long time, y'all, and I'm not even capping, a long time to get my application right. Even now, after I have been doing this for years and years and years, I still adjust everything. I'm constantly trying to figure out what can work better for me, and I'm still learning, so it never stops. I have noticed that once you get it and you have full control over your application, it gets a whole lot easier and stuff just clicks to you. You just understand. But the key, like I said, with doing nails is your application. So I went in and I applied my cuticle bead, and cuticle beads too, I feel like, are something that you need to focus on too if you're a beginner, because no one wants to have all of that lifting at the back, and then you want it smooth, you want it flushed. So in order to do that too, it's a way you apply it, because somewhat, y'all, acrylic is self-leveling. Not a whole lot, but it does self-level. So I'm placing my bead, and when I placed it at the cuticle area, I placed it away and then I barely pushed it back and it self-leveled into that cuticle area. So for the middle finger, I'm going to be doing a French. Now for my French, I'm going to start with a small bead, well, medium to small, place it at the center of the nail, point her finger down, and start molding that into a almond shape. Now I remember this day like exact. I remember what I was thinking as I was doing this. I was like, do not take up so much time molding this darn reverse nail bed. Because that's what I'll do. I'll sit there and fiddle with it and make sure that it is perfect knowing darn well I'm going to come in and file it perfectly. So I told myself, don't do it this time. So sometimes you do things just out of habit, and sometimes most of these things are bad habits. So I know I shouldn't be doing it, but since I've been doing it for so long, sometimes I forget. So sometimes, girl, I have to talk to myself like, ma'am, let's get it together, okay? So after I get done molding this into the almond shape, I'm going to come in with my cuticle bead. And like I said, I'm going to place that bead at the back away from the cuticle, apply very little pressure, allow it to self-level in the back, and then I'm going to stroke it through starting from the right side to the center to the left side. So you should be touching the back of the cuticle area really not at all. If you have to clean up your sides, but the very back, you want to stay free from that. I find that that's really going to assure that you do not get any lifting. Okay, and for my thumb, that one is also going to be a French. So I've already applied the nail bed, and then I'm going in now and just applying that cuticle area. So for my pointer finger, I'm going to be doing some glitter. Now, when it comes to glitter, y'all, I don't know when the last time I have used like a mixed glitter. Most of my glitters are raw, and that's how I prefer it. I feel like they just stand out so much more. So what I did was I took a clear bead and then I just dipped that clear bead into all of my glitters. Now I'm using 3 different ones. They're just random glitters basically, and I just applied that all over the nail. Now as I'm doing that, I'm going to clean up my sides, make sure that I don't have any on the skin. I'm also looking and making sure that it is full, like I don't want to see any sparse areas through this glitter. Once I have most of it done, I'm going to come in with another chunky glitter and just pat that on top. So this is really going to make this glitter pop. Now this chunky glitter is from Glitter Planet. I believe it's their champagne shards. It's very pretty. Now for this glitter, I am going to wait for it to dry. If I was to come in and try and cap this with my clear right now, most of that glitter will just run off. So your best bet is to let it dry. I also, y'all, didn't know what the heck I was thinking. I should have saved this glitter for the very last nail. Because you see I'm coming in with my next color, but baby, that glitter was still with me. I cleaned my brush, cleaned out my monomer, and it was still glitter everywhere. And I know it was because I used a fine glitter also. Those ones seem to want to stick around the most. So for my ring finger, this one, I'm using this dark brown, and I believe this one is called Hershey's. I can't remember exactly where I got it from, but I had got these, I think last year, a couple of browns, and I love them. Here for fall season, baby, I think everyone like last week and even this week has came in and requested brown. Like this is the color for this little time of season for sure. So this brown color, y'all, is acting like it's black, okay? It is being kind of difficult, and I hadn't used it in a while, so I forgot how to work it. So on the other hand, I made the adjustments, and even after this, because I still use it on this hand. But this little first nail, I was like, ooh-wee, it is working me. So I'm trying to be careful around that cuticle area. I did have some trouble there blending it at the body, but when that happens, you just use force and press that product in and smooth it out. So for my French, I've already filed it perfectly into shape, and now I'm coming in and I'm going to fill it in with that brown. So I'm starting at the tip, and like I said, I'm trying to work this little powder. I'm going to push it back up against that side wall and just press that into the sides of that nail. So I'm trying to be very quick with this product because it starts to kind of dry up really fast. So I'm trying to work the sides, make sure that I am still keeping it clean. But sometimes, y'all, I'm just like, forget it. I just have to get this color on. And if I have to go back and file it, so be it. So I'm pressing it out, finally bringing it down through the tip, making sure that I really smooth it out there at the tip area. I believe, like looking back at, some of my videos, some of my pictures, when it came to French nails, I was making my tips too thick. So I'm really watching that nowadays. I'm making sure that I am smoothing it out and only applying what I need. So there at the tip, you see I always knock up against it with my brush. This will really square off your product instead of like brushing it down and going with the tip. That will give it kind of that curve bump kind of look. You want it flush, flat, and straight. So when you push your brush up against it, that is what will help. So now that I have the tip squared away, I'm going to come in and fill in my sides. So as I'm applying this, you can see I'm getting it onto that nail plate, but I'm still wiping it away, trying to keep it somewhat clean. At this point, I already know I'm going to have to go back and file it. So I'm just getting that product on there, still trying not to make too much of a mess. So here are the nails after the application. They have been capped, and now we're going to get into finish filing. So she's going for that coffin shape, right? So I'm going to take my hand file and I'm going to angle it while keeping it straight and just really focus on the sides. Once I have the sides done, I'm going to go on the tip and make sure that that is straight also. So by doing this, I'm setting up the perimeter for my nails. So when I go in and smooth out the body, I'm going to follow that shape that I already created with my hand file. So once I have my hand filing done, now I'm coming in with my e-file. Now I'm using a sanding band, but this is a zebra sanding band. So I like to use the brown fine ones for when I'm working on the natural nails, and then when I'm working the surface of acrylic, these ones are just a little bit tougher, just a little bit. So I like to use these. So I'm going to go across the body. I'm going to make sure that the tip of the nail is straight and flat and smooth. And then I will go around the cuticle area and make sure that is flushed. Sometimes, depending on the set I have done, I would use a safety bit and then my sanding band. So it always just applies to how good your application was. If it's pretty smooth, then I can just get away with going in and using my sanding band. But if it's a lot of encapsulation, there's some bulk, then I'll come in with the safety bit first and then finish with my sanding band. But one thing, I like to always use my sanding band because that really flushes out the cuticle area. Okay, so for my design, I'm going to be doing a plaid nail. So I'm going to start off by using my magpie white, and I'm going to come in and I thoroughly placed that brush into my white, and then I really stroked it out. So I only had a little bit of that paint gel on my brush. Then I went in and I created one thin line, and now I'm coming in and I'm also making another thin line. Now what I'm going to do after that is I'm going to fill in between those lines. So that's something that has really helped me with nail art, just taking my time and splitting it up. So also with this, I'm trying to make sure that I'm not picking up too much, because I have done that before when it comes to doing any kind of gel polish design. I always felt like it was too thick. So I'm making sure that this is a background. I want it just to be a flat background. And I have even went in and stamped this white line with my stamping plate. That also works really well. But for this one, I'm just going to use the paint gel. So with this paint gel, one thing I really love about it is I'm able to build it up with minimal product. So I only have a little bit on my brush, but what is happening is that gel is so thick that I'm able just to blend it through. Now, if I was using a gel polish, I would probably have to go in with my first layer and then come in again with a second layer. With this one, I'm just starting out really thin and I'm just really stroking my brush through and blending it through. I'm really taking my time to blend it and make sure that it is opaque enough, because I'm still going to come in over this anyway, so it doesn't have to be like popping opaque. So after that has cured, I'm going to come in and create the other line going horizontal through the nail, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to start with one line, create another on the opposite end of that line, and then just fill that in. So after that has cured, now I'm going to come in with my Young Nails paint gel in black, and I'm going to outline that white and then also bring the one down the center. So to start off, I've got that black in my brush, and now I'm coming in and very thinly I'm going to create a line. Now I'm going to start off thin so I can build it up, and you don't want to make these too thick either. So in order to build it up, I'm not adding any extra product. I'm just running my nail art brush through what I have already done. So I'm really just blending that color through, and as I do that, I'm adding very minimal pressure and it'll thicken it up just a little bit. And also, I'm not using the body of the brush, I'm using the point of that nail art brush. So I start at the point and I just drag down. I think that is one thing that is going to help when you're trying to make really thin lines. And to finish this plaid nail, I'm going to come in with a brown paint gel. This one is from Young Nails also. This one I'm kind of disappointed in because it's not as thick and as opaque as the other ones, but it still worked. So I'm going to do that one straight down on that side, and then after this cures, I'll come in and add a little strip on the bottom. So that completes her set, y'all. As you can see on the ring finger, we went in and added some jewels. She really loves those big butterflies, so that's her go-to. But thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see y'all in another video. Bye.